Welcome everyone. Today we'll talk about talent development in this video. So, talent development is basically new talents, new recruits, and in case if we are talking about old employees, their talent needs to be nurtured and properly groomed so that it serves the very purpose of the organizational needs and definitely the individual motivated you. So basically, if you don't know where you are going, you'll probably end somewhere else. And as the idiom says around it, we need to be directional and people need to be guided for that matter. Navigation is the duty of the supervisor. Absolutely. Goal setting should be perfect because getting the right goal is equivalent as important as getting the right people with the right stuff in the right places and definitely at the appropriate time, as the case might be. That is what goal achievement will help us to go around it. Not only the right goal, but right person with the right stuff at the right places at the right time will enable us to achieve the desired goal or the objective thereby. So, what is the stuff I'm talking about? It stuff is nothing but all about skills, abilities, attitudes, and experiences to basically lead a successfully in the future. So, we are talking about skills, aptitude, and experiences. Along with it, if you can have this cocktail of performances and potential, and these are the stuff that people are made up of. Wonderful employees are made up of, competent employees are made up of, leadership qualities that needs to be imbibed upon is what right stuff is all about it. Let me project you a graph in a screen. If you look into it, if you see, there is something called labor availability as in this, the blue line denotes, and the labor needed. And this is appropriately extrapolated altogether. So theoretical in nature. And if you see the right people with the right stuff, remember the right stuff, there is a shortage of about 10 million workers, and I'm projecting it till the year of 2030, till 8 years to go around it. And this is a projection that comes around from the United States labor forces versus the labor demand. So where is the growth in the workforce? Allow me, the workforce by age of 2000 to 2010, if you look into it, there is an inverse age of the workforce which is in the group of 35 to 44. In between the age of 35 to 44, there's a negative growth altogether. That means that the people are missing into action. Yes, the workforce starts at the age of 16 to 24, which comprises of 15%. But if you look gradually and steadily, maximum amount of number of workforce is being hovered around in excess of the age group of 55, in excess to the group of 55 as the case might be. This is what the United States Bureau of Labor Statistics is all about it. So remember, we are talking about declining number of mid-career workers. People are shunning jobs altogether. Fewer younger workers entering the workforce, and in fact, the workforce is gradually and rapidly aging. So 55% of the organization in a survey, it has been noticed, do have the succession plan. Absolutely 55%. But what about the high ratings? A high succession plan, probably 9%, and low ratings would be around 34%. And that is what we are looking for it as a succession management system effectiveness. Remember, we are trying to address the questions of talent development. So average scores is approximately 4.6 out of 10, and that is a decimal score by any standard. Please understand talent development, the requisite talent available and the requisite talent required. There's a huge gap, and the projected gap is more than 10 million, whooping 10 million. So, job position covered by succession, if we go around it, and in fact, I'm just trying to portray the images what has happened in the history. Let's say you take in the year 2003 and 2005, and if you look into it, the maximum of the things would have come from the multi-department of functional growth. If you look, this is the maximum things that function, the job successions planning has been taken place, all about departmental, all about functional, and then immediately then it is at the top level of CEO, CFO, or CEO of Chief Executive Officer, CFO is Chief Financial Officer, COO is Chief Operations officers as such. So these are the people who are, these are key position of an organization which needs to be curated, planned, and probably developed for as far as talent is concerned. A proper succession plan is going around it. Other than that, for the first level, the departmental functional, the project managers, these are individual orientations, the individual development that people goes around it. Probably not much of a talent development stress has been done by the organization. Succession qualities most predictive of the successor, what you are looking at based on the success rates of a newly promoted leaders involves the chief executive officers, or should I say the topmost senior leader, involves line management to identify, probably to develop candidates, collects objective assessment data regarding current performances and readiness and the potential thereby. This is what we would love to go around it. Top areas needing improvement, and what are the top areas relies on computerized system to plan, track, process. That's 66% of the work that we are looking into it. Evaluating managers based on their efforts to develop direct reports, and that is approximately again two-thirds, around 64% that needs to be worked around it. Involves coaching or mentoring a program, that's approximately more than half of the workforce, that is 55% needs to be worked upon it. So yes, computerizations, change in technology, every two-thirds of the employees needs to be retrained. Managers on the way they are communicating, on the way they are handling the things report, again approximately two-thirds, near about 64% needs to be retrained. And in cases of mentoring, coaching, every every 1% out of two employees needs to be groomed and regroomed again. So where do we start? The question remains. I have given you statistics to show you or depict the realistic picture that is to be, and that is actually been hampering the industry's growth. Where do we start? How do we nurture talent? Start where the pain is most. I would always say act first where it is becoming very urgent, usually at the senior level. Identify critical linchpin position per se, and then probably cascade down to include lower levels. Probably these are the points that places where we need to regroom our things, the senior level, the critical linchpin position, and cascade down to the lowest level. So ask, where are we most at risk? Impending retirements. Yes, people are retiring, people are maturing, people are aging, expanding new horizon, new businesses. In fact, the business format has changed, the business template has changed. The business product has changed, the business acumen has changed, or should I say the end customers perception has changed and the requirement has changed. So critical levels of the strategies, a highly specialized expertise is what we should be looking or risking at. We are talking about blockchain technology, we are talking about machine learning technology. So let me give you the just-in-time approach. If you look out here, this is what succession planning is all about. It succession planning is all about competency model. Competency model is all dependent upon the leadership development, as the case might tell it to you. This is what we are looking into it. So what is the just-in-time method that comes around it? The just-in-time method will tell everything that comes around. We need to select the right people, we need to recruit the right people, we need to hire appropriate person, retain the talented fellows. We should have a promotion or a career mobility for each star performer. We should have an understanding of program evaluation. We should take into consideration the team development, the workforce planning, the competency model, the train and develop. We should be entrusted upon performance management, knowledge transfers, and total an integrated approach to talent development. If you look into it, the strategic plan, if you see, the water flows and keeps on flowing. It is right from program evaluations to knowledge from retentions to promotion and career mobility, from training and development to recruitment and selection, from competency models to workforce succession planning, as the case might be. So, yes, we need to go around it. Otherwise, water will flow under the bridge and you cannot navigate the water flow, control the flow of water as per your requirement. Remember, the flowing of the water has been depicted in a strategic plan. Yes, the continuum is all about workforce and succession planning, competency model, recruitment and selection, hiring, training and development. We are talking about promotions and career mobility, retentions, knowledge management, and last but never the least, about your program evaluation. Let me divulge the research finding, as in who are the people who needs to be looked into it. See, we have this continuum which is all employees together, right? Now this will have my first line employee, the second line employee, the third line employee, the mid managers, and then slowly and steadily we are going to the senior most position, and that is what the funnel should always comprises upon it. Probably as we narrow down the funnel, the position becomes very critical, very pivotal. So we need to play important role around it. Talent assessment is to develop, communicate standard competencies and other evaluation criteria for all and every. This is the people where you see a plentiful of people are passing through the mechanism and only few are getting selected. This is the shortlisting position that comes around here. Yes, we are looking for such things. Develop and communicate standard competencies and other evaluation criteria to all. Obtain inputs from multiple sources, be it supervisors, multi-rate rater feedback, assessment center, simulation, self and peer nomination. Develop talent to meet future demands of organization. Conduct regular reviews with the senior leaders as on when on basis. Let me come up with a 9 box matrix, which is one standard way to rank. What are we looking into it? See, the promotionability or the potential of a person. It might be low, medium, or high. But what about the performances? Performance can also be low, medium, and high. So can we make a quadrant about it where promotability and performance are low? So person would be demarcated as a low performer, whereas promotability and potential is medium. Probably everybody is a solid performer, but when it comes to either of the thing wherein either promotability is medium or performance is medium, in this case what happens, both of them may not be maybe somewhere down the corner, not uh, ringing the bell absolutely as the case might be. So we need to look out as to what needs to be done. So when performance is performance is low and promotability is low, it is a low performer. But when low performance is low and promotability is medium, it's a questionable format that comes around it. So we what we are looking into it, we are making a fragment of classifying employees into 4 categories: categories of low performer, categories of questionable performers, then we have something called a solid performer, wherein either of the promotability or potential or perhaps performance is high, but one of the other factors of maybe medium or semi-medium, something like that. And then we have something called a strong performer, where they have the requisite levels altogether. This is a strong performer that needs to be taken into account as on when on basis. So that is the nine box matrix. So we have low performer, which is minuscule, then we have questionable performer, then we have solid performer and strong performer. Remember, we just need to move the questionable performer into a strong performer, and things will improve for the company, for the industry, for the organization thereby. So developing your talent, we should have 5 guidelines that I profess around it. First, focus on development. Identify linchpin position, make it transparent, measure progress frequently and regularly, and keep it flexible. This is what we should be looking at it. Keep it as much flexible as possible for all of us. So why do we need future leaders? Because leaders needs to learn, leaders needs to understand the knowledge, and probably which is perhaps outside the understanding of employee department. And that is where leader comes into place. Knowledge and understanding at the enterprise level, a broad network of relationships. And how do you go about by it? How are learning needs being met? Formal leadership development programs, action learning, and other projects. Rotational and or development assignments as on when on basis. Data-driven development based on assessment, feedback, and other sources. Senior leaders' involvement, structured building of relationship as you go around it. This is exactly what we should be talking about as often as possible. Leaders' competencies are never enough. Believe me or not, these needs to be polished and gained on a regular fashion. Each level of leadership requires unique mix of skills, time application, and values. Again, repeating it, it's a mix of skills, time application, and values. Values are nothing but priorities that you need to set around it. So six passages which I would love to be on the bench of the pipeline is managing self to managing others, from one to many, managing others to managing managers, from others it might be your peers or your subordinates. Can you manage your superordinates or your bosses, managers, managing managers to functional managers, as the case might be, and you are going on the higher of the scale, and that is where your influence comes around it. Functional managers to business managers to group managers, and eventually group managers to enterprise manager, and this is where you become a chief executive officer, CEO, that comes around it. These are the six passages for you to develop and probably groom yourself in due courses of time of your life, for your career, from managing self to managing others, from others to being a manager, from managing managers to functional managers, from functional managers to business managers, from business managers to group managers, and eventually from group managers to the chief executive officer. So yes, what are we looking at? The most common development methods. Remember, I'm talking about talent development. So we can have the on-the-job methods, which is very simple, which is individual development plans, stretch assignments, probably add-on responsibilities, and look how the person is reacting. Probably rotational assignment, cross-functional team projects, performance support tools, cross-functional promotional pathways, shadowing executive level processes, reference where, as on, when on basis. So on the job is individual development plan, stretch assignments, rotational assignment, cross-functional team project, performance support tools, cross-functional promotion pathways, shadowing executive level process. Shadowing is nothing but another word for mentoring, and referenceware. This would be an on-the-job concept. Now we can have something called formal component that comes around it. Look how people are doing it, how what they are doing as far as assessment is concerned. People have been coached, people have been mentored. There is a formal training, full blueprint of training is will be there. Action learning, discussion groups, and book clubs as on when on basis. Measuring your success along the way. Percentage of internal placements, percentage of candidate ready now, ready soon, ready long time, as on when on basis. So this is your internal placement that we are talking about it. We should always calculate the retention rates, success rates of promotion. What were you trying to accomplish in the first place, in the first, as the case scenario is all about it. What are you trying to accomplish? Be clear about your goals, your objective. Maintain your objectives and your metrics of your success diligently, so that you can measure them. How well or how much are you faring? Technology as an enabler. Yes, we have ERP vendors, enterprise resource planning vendors, we have performance management vendors, we have LMS vendors, learning management system vendors, which has a global access to information 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Search based specific criteria, integrate with HCM, that's human capital management data that goes around it. Yes, we are talking about gaps, we are talking about strength and a balance, and viewing the talent across geographies, across territories, across function. You will have a better eagle eye view for your organization to function. With this, I come to the end of this presentation. I hope you are very much clear as to what talent development was all about it. Thank you for watching this video till the very end.